Welcome back to FM Story. We're currently in the second half of Season 9 of our Athletic Club save. We're currently sat fourth in the league table and going through a bit of a decent run of form. We've qualified for the knockout stages of the Champions League. Let's see if we can keep it all going. Before we do get started, if you do enjoy the video, please like, comment and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get going. So we're at the end of February and we've got a pretty big game coming up to end the month. We've got the second leg of the knockout playoff round of the Champions League against RB Leipzig. February started off well, and then it looked like our form had just gone through the floor halfway through the month, but we were able to pick it up again towards the end of the month. So we started with a 1-0 win at home to Getafe, and we made it a lot more difficult than it needed to be. Eventually picking up the winner with a Robin Normand header from close range from a corner in the 75th minute. Lenormand had actually come off the bench because we had done a bit of business on deadline day in that we'd signed Ike Quintanilla. And we'll have a look at that in more detail a bit in a second. But we were able to pick up the win, which then took us into the fourth round of the Copa del Rey away at Eibar, and we got off to a cracking start. 2 goals in the first 11 minutes from Juregi. Serrano made it 3 just before half-time. They pulled a goal back on half-time, and then we were pretty comfortable for the rest of the game. We never really looked in any danger in the second half, and Julian Guerrero picked up a fourth for us just to complete the victory. That then meant we were in the quarterfinal of the Copa del Rey against Getafe. And it was an eventful game that we probably just about deserved to edge. We took an early lead through Unai Ribeiro. They pulled one back. Julian Guerrero scored just before the half hour and then just after half time to put us 3-1 up. They pulled a goal back in the 60th minute. And then after that, not an awful lot happened. There wasn't many chances for either side. And we hung on to win 3-2, which takes us through to the semi-final of the Copa del Rey, which is a 2-legged affair, and we've been drawn against Real Sociedad in that, so that's something to look forward to. After that quarter-final, we went away to Celta Vigo in the league, who were at that stage 9 unbeaten at home in the league, and we were useless. They took an early lead, and then neither team really created an awful lot until they got the second. And it was poor performances all round. We really just didn't deserve to get anything from the game. Hot on the heels of that game, we went away to Atletico Madrid and put in another stinker of a performance and lost 3-0. Nothing really much had happened. They'd had a goal disallowed early on, but nothing much happened until injury time when Pedro Goncalves scored. Kubo scored just after half time, and as we were pushing on to try and get back in the game, Fernandez picked up the third just to seal the victory, but we really were not at the races and not exactly the best couple of games of form to go into the first leg of the Champions League game with. So with not going into the first leg in particularly good form after those last 2 games in the league, having gone behind after 21 minutes, it wasn't looking particularly great. We did manage to pull level less than 10 minutes later with a penalty from Nico Serrano, and then really we should have scored more. It was reminiscent of the first leg game last season in the round of 16 against Man City, where we restricted their XG. We were ahead on XG. We should have taken chances. We didn't. And at that point, I was expecting them to get an injury time winner to take a 2-1 lead into the second leg. But it was ourselves that actually got a penalty. Nico Serrano stepped up and smashed it home. And hopefully, going into the home leg, we can maintain that advantage and see ourselves through to the round of 16 this year. And then the most recent game was at home to Cadiz. We got off to a good start. In fact, we were 3-0 up in under the hour. And then we did rest a few players, take a few players off, just with the one eye on the Champions League game. And we let Cadiz back into the game. and really they can probably feel a bit hard done to, if you know what I mean. I think it was probably a draw would have been the fair result. We did end the game with 10 men. Pablo Uregi went off injured. He's now going to be missing for 3 or 4 weeks, so going to certainly be missing the second leg of this Champions League game and potentially the next round if we get through, and the Copa del Rey semi-finals as well. But we just about hung on, and hopefully we can go into the next game against Leipzig at home and put in a performance. So going into the game, obviously we're missing Pablo Uregi, as we said, so Nico Serrano's moved across to the right, Vallejo's coming on the left. It probably would have been Maturana, but he's been injured recently. The physio reckons he's only able to play 45 minutes. We do have issues with fitness in certain areas of the pitch. We've also got quite a few players that are on a yellow card and one yellow card away from a ban, which isn't a particularly good sign if we manage to make it through. But I think if we get off to a decent start, keep it tight, and hopefully the home advantage will see us through. Oh, I'm not quite sure what Lenormand was doing up in the box there, because it came from a throw-in, not from a corner. A lovely ball across from Guillamon, but you've got to say the keeper should be saving that, surely. It looked like he just went straight through his hands. I mean, we certainly started on the front foot, and I think we're good value for that lead. Now we just need to hold on to it. Right, another throw in. Guillamon into Julian Guerrero. Oh! I hope we don't regret these missed chances. If you'd give me that before we went into that first hour, just snapped the hand off on that. 1-0 up. We've dominated play, we've dominated chances. I mean, they've had one shot in the whole game and not troubled the keeper. So the only slight issue is Julian Guerrero looks like he's struggling fitness-wise. He was one of the ones going into the game. He hasn't played particularly well, so it might be worth a change there. Come on, Barreras, come on, Quintanillas, come on. Javi Lopez down this left-hand side. Oh, could have wrapped it up completely there. And we're through. Really decent performance. Restricted them to 2 shots and a 0.07 XG. That's really all you can ask for. We nicked the goal early on and controlled the game. We're now at the end of March. Well, we've got 1 game left in March, and it's the second leg of the Copa del Rey semi-final against Real Sociedad, so we're potentially 1 game away from a final. Since we knocked Leipzig out of the Champions League, things have gone pretty well. We've actually only lost 1 game, unfortunately. That was a Champions League game. The first game after the Leipzig game was a game away at Rayo Vallecano in the snow, and obviously Vallecano have proven to be a bit of a bogey team for us in the past. We just about snuck a win, Unai Ribeiro scoring on the hour, but there wasn't much to choose between the 2 teams on the day. We then faced Juventus at home in the first leg of the Champions League and pretty much dominated the game. I mean, Juventus didn't really trouble us, and they have a pretty decent team. I mean, if you look at their lineup, you've got Mikoko, Vlahovic, Chiesa, Zaniolo. They obviously signed Unai Simon from us a couple of seasons ago as well. So, first leg we were pretty good. Probably deserved the win. I mean, in retrospect, we probably should have taken more chances and had a 2 or 3 goal lead. But it was a decent performance, and it gave us a good chance going into the second leg. After that, we went to Sevilla with a few suspension and fitness issues, so the defence was rotated a bit, and we picked Ander Benito to start instead of Unai Ribeiro. And immediately it looked like it was all going to collapse as Sevilla scored inside the first minute. Nico Serrano equalised on the half hour, only for Sevilla to go straight from the kickoff and go 2-1 in front. We then missed a penalty right on half time, and then we had to bring some of the players on that we'd left out of the side, just to try and get the result. And Unai Ribeiro and Julian Guerrero popped up with goals towards the end of the game to give us a 3-2 victory. If we hadn't won the game based on the XG we had and the possession and the control of the game we'd had, we'd have been robbed. It was a fair result. It's just we left it a bit late to get back into the game. And then we went away to Juventus and basically ran into Vlahovic. Was too good on the day. He had 2 by half time, and then we conceded the third as we were chasing the game in the second half. And we were totally outclassed on the day, and Juventus deserved to go through. But if we'd managed to get another one in the first leg, we might have had a bit more of a chance. But that was us out of the Champions League for this season in the round of 16. We then bounced back from that with a thumping win at home against Malaga, and we won 5-2. And the second of Malaga's goal was in injury time there. We were 4-1 up at half time. Unai Ribeiro with a couple. Nico Serrano added one in the second to get a couple as well. So comfortable win. Great to put that game against Juventus behind us and to get back on the front foot and get the confidence back amongst the players, because obviously we were then going into 2 legs back to back against Real Sociedad. The first of which was the home leg. We maybe got a bit lucky if you look at the XG. I mean, we scored 4 with an XG of 1.62. They had a goal disallowed on the hour, but we were pretty comfortable. We took our chances. Bit of a problem in that Nico Serrano got sent off for a wild lunge, and we're also going to be missing our first choice midfield pairing of Marino and Sunset for the second leg. So it's important that we managed to go into the second leg away with a 3-goal advantage, because I think it's going to be a tough game, and we need to just keep things quiet and not do anything stupid, and hopefully we'll be in the final against either Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. As far as the league's concerned, we're currently sat in 4th position. We're 5 points clear of Sociedad. We're 2 points behind Almeria, but we've played a game less than them. So hopefully we can win the game in hand and solidify the 3rd position. And the aim of closing the gap on Barcelona and Real Madrid looks lost, seeing as Real Madrid are 10 points clear of us and Barcelona are 11 points clear of us. But we may yet see the first title won by someone that isn't Real Madrid, as they've won every title in the save so far. We do have Unai Ribeiro 3rd in the top goal scorer in the league with 18 so far this season, and Julian Guerrero is way out in front in the assists with 15 assists, and he's also got 7 man of the matches this season as well. So obviously they've been key players for us, particularly since Julian Guerrero signed his new contract around December, January. He's really turned on the form in the second half of the season. So as we said, we're going into the second leg with Sunset, Marino and Nico Serrano all suspended. So Ander Guevara and Inigo Barrera have come in to play in the 2 in front of the back 4, and Pablo Uregi's back from injury, come in for Nico Serrano on the right hand side. Probably not going to be able to play a full game. Julian Guerrero's probably not going to be able to play a full game either, so we may have to make some good use of our substitutes, but we're going to have to put this team out first and try and keep it tight or nick something just to give us a bit of an advantage and make it a bit more safe. Surely that's not offside. I don't even know. No, it was him getting the ball back on the touchline that was the problem, but that is not the best start. Not the start we were hoping for. Definitely not the first half we wanted. think we've done well to slow them down a bit since they scored. But now we've only got a 2-goal advantage and we don't have an awful lot of options bench-wise either. That's going to be a red card. Right, we've made our 3 changes to bring fresh legs on it. Right back, up front and on the left-hand side. And we could seriously regret that. If we pick up an injury or anything like that, but right, Duarte newly in. Right, can Benito get on that? Yes, what a touch. What play by the big man up front. Pulls it back for Ribeiro. And he just slots it home. Great touch. Takes on the fullback. Gets around him, puts inside, pulls it back, and the keeper was unsighted. And hopefully, back to a 3-goal advantage with half an hour left. That should be enough. We'll take that. Certainly not at our best, but we at least deserved a draw from that game. And it's always nice to knock your local rivals out the cup, especially with 2 legs in the semi-final like that. And now we find out who we've got in the final. So it's time for the youth intake again. Before we get to see the players, we'll just have a look at the preview for this year. Again, it says it's going to be a 5-star excellent intake, but the grading system to me wouldn't seem to match up with that. We do seem to have 3 attacking midfielders all coming through, 1 forward, 1 centre half, and then after that, there's nothing basically. So we'll see what we get when it comes through. And on paper, like from the descriptions, this seems to be certainly, if not one of the worst intakes, on a par with one of the worst intakes in terms of just the lack of numbers that are supposed to be promising in any way. But obviously, once we see the players, we'll be able to judge better. Before we look at this year's intake of youth players, the NXGN Top 50 Wonder Kids has been announced. And we have 1 player on it this year after having 3 last year. And it's Ander Benito, who is in 6th position on the list. He could probably do with actually going out on loan, I think, next season. Because he has played well when he's come in and when he's been needed. But I think you need some consistent game time. And he's not going to get that ahead of Unai Ribeiro at the moment. So I think maybe he's a season out on loan just to play regular football. I'll help him develop. So now for the intake. So the preview obviously was 5-star. We had 3 attacking midfielders, a striker, and something else. So the first, we've got a couple of elite talents and only 3 top talents. It's definitely not as deeper a pool this year as it has been in previous seasons. So John Navarro obviously is one of the attacking midfielders. Looking at the potential, certainly has the potential to be around Ander Maturana, who's really starting to come into his own now. They all, both him and Maturana and even Vallejo and Romero, all seem to have higher potential than Nico Serrano, who's played really quite well this season for us. Decent physicals apart from obviously the strength and the jumping. He's only 5'8". Good off the ball, good flair, decisions, aggression and work rate. The technicals could probably do with a bit of developing. I mean, especially if we were going to play him in that shadow striker, the dribbling, finishing, passing are a bit lacking at the moment. But obviously he's only 15, so he's going to develop beyond what's there at the moment. Next one's Fran Diaz, who's another attacking midfielder who could also play up front. Another really highly rated potential-wise. Again, the physicals certainly for Fran Diaz are a lot less developed than the physicals for Navarro. There's a big difference in terms of the acceleration, agility, balance, fitness, pace and stamina compared to what Navarro had, and he's not really, the mentals aren't really there either, and the technicals aren't that much better than Navarro at this stage. We've got John Sainz, who could be an attacking midfielder, could be a centre forward. Very good mentals in terms of the teamwork, the determination, the flair. Reasonably quick, but again, quite small, not very strong, and the technicals are going to need some developing as well. So Luis Navarro is another attacking midfielder by the looks of this. Good physicals in terms of acceleration, pace, fitness, agility, even smaller than the rest of them. So definitely not a one to be throwing up for corners. Some decent mentals, but the mentals and technicals need an awful lot of work there as well. Really good mentals in terms of bravery, determination. I mean, they say centre back. Because he could be someone who could play right back or centre back. Decent jumping restart, decent fitness, but the bravery, determination, positioning, really, really strong there. So looking at the talent that's come in, definitely one of the weaker youth intakes we've had. But Navarro looks like he's got the talent. Navarro looks like he's got the talent to be a really top player. And potentially a sort of... I mean, obviously he's only 15 now, so it's going to take some time to develop. But by the time he's developed and ready for the first team, it might be a point in time where John Guerrero's career is starting to wind down and it's someone that can replace him in that number 10 role. And that's it for this episode. Next time we'll have the run into the season, including a Copa del Rey final against either Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.